Why is it that when we talk about heart health, we immediately think of cholesterol, blood pressure, exercise, or maybe fish oil supplements? But almost no one talks about vitamin C. Why has this humble nutrient, something you can find in an orange, a bell pepper, or even a handful of berries, been so consistently underrated when it comes to protecting our hearts? The truth is, vitamin C might just be the most overlooked guardian of cardiovascular health, and ignoring it could be one of the biggest mistakes for anyone over 50. Let me ask you something. If I told you that something so simple, so affordable, and so natural could lower your risk of heart disease, would you believe me? Or would you brush it off as too easy to be true? That's the hook here, because vitamin C is the most underrated nutrient for heart health. And today, I'm going to show you why it deserves a front row seat in your daily life. I remember talking to a close friend of mine who had just turned 60. He was doing all the right things according to conventional wisdom, taking his cholesterol medication, cutting down on fried foods, going on walks, but still, he was constantly worried about his heart. His blood pressure readings were creeping up, his energy was down, and he kept asking me, what else can I do? I feel like I'm missing something, and he was right, he was missing vitamin C, not in the sense that he was deficient like someone with scurvy, but missing out on the power of what this nutrient does at the micro level, inside your blood vessels, where the true story of heart health is written. Let's start with something we often forget. Heart disease isn't just about clogged arteries. It's about inflammation and damage to the delicate lining of those arteries. That lining, called the endothelium, is like the inner skin of your blood vessels. When it's damaged, whether by high blood pressure, high blood sugar, or smoking, it becomes sticky. Cholesterol starts sticking to it, plaque builds up, and that's where the downward spiral begins. Here's the twist. Vitamin C is one of the body's most powerful defenders of that endothelial lining. It's like having a repair crew constantly patching up tiny cracks before they become potholes. But if you don't get enough, those cracks accumulate and the risk rises. Now, most people think of vitamin C as the immune system vitamin. You get a cold, you grab a pack of chewables. But that's barely scratching the surface. For your heart, vitamin C is involved in the production of collagen, the protein that gives structure and strength to your blood vessels. Without enough collagen, your arteries can weaken, stiffen, and become more prone to rupture. Imagine trying to hold back water with a rubber hose that's drying out and cracking. That's what weak arteries are like. Vitamin C keeps that hose flexible, strong, and resilient. And here's something fascinating. Researchers have found that vitamin C can reduce arterial stiffness, which is one of the earliest warning signs of cardiovascular trouble. Stiff arteries force your heart to pump harder, raising blood pressure and increasing strain on your heart muscle. By keeping those vessels flexible, vitamin C is indirectly lowering blood pressure in a natural, gentle way. Isn't that remarkable? Yet no one is talking about it. We focus so much on cutting out salt. And yes, that matters. But why not also focus on strengthening the very structure of the arteries themselves? I've also come across studies showing that people with higher vitamin C levels tend to have lower levels of C-reactive protein, which is a key marker of inflammation in the body. Inflammation is like a silent fire smoldering inside your arteries. You don't feel it, but it's there, damaging tissue and accelerating plaque buildup. Vitamin C acts like a firefighter, cooling down that inflammation and reducing the risk of it spreading. If you're someone who already has diabetes, high cholesterol, or hypertension, reducing inflammation is absolutely critical, and vitamin C can be a major ally. But let me get personal here. I used to be one of those people who thought vitamin C was basic. I thought, come on, everyone knows about oranges. If it were that important, my doctor would be talking about it. But here's the reality. Our medical system often overlooks nutrients that aren't tied to prescriptions or big profits. The truth is, vitamin C is so inexpensive, so widely available, that it's been overshadowed by other, more glamorous or marketable solutions. That doesn't make it less powerful, it makes it underrated. And that's where you, as someone over 50 who cares about longevity and quality of life, can really benefit by rethinking this humble nutrient. Now, I don't want you to just go and start swallowing vitamin C tablets like candy. That's not the point. The real secret is to integrate it naturally and intelligently into your diet. Did you know that bell peppers, especially the red ones, have more vitamin C than oranges? Or that a handful of strawberries, kiwi, or even broccoli can deliver a serious boost? If you're someone who eats mostly processed foods or skips fruits and vegetables, you're very likely missing out. And here's the kicker. As we age, our body's ability to absorb and utilize nutrients isn't as efficient as it used to be. That means you need to be more intentional, not less, about making sure you're getting enough. And let me give you a practical tip. Vitamin C is water-soluble, which means your body doesn't store it the way it stores fat-soluble vitamins like D, E, and K. That's why it's better to get a steady supply throughout the day. Instead of one massive dose, for example, have some berries with your breakfast, add bell peppers to your lunch salad, and maybe have a citrus fruit as a snack in the afternoon. That way, your blood levels stay consistent and your heart gets constant support. I know what some of you might be thinking, but aren't supplements easier? Yes, supplements can play a role, especially if you struggle to get enough from food. But not all supplements are created equal. Some of the cheaper ones don't absorb well or come with added sugars and fillers. If you go the supplement route, look for pure ascorbic acid or buffered forms that are gentler on the stomach. And remember, food sources always come with additional phytonutrients and antioxidants that work together with vitamin C to protect your heart. Here's another angle that might surprise you. Vitamin C has been linked to improved nitric oxide production. Why does that matter? Nitric oxide helps your blood vessels relax and widen, improving circulation and reducing blood pressure. Think of it as giving your arteries a deep breath of fresh air. Without enough vitamin C, that nitric oxide signaling doesn't work as effectively, and your cardiovascular system suffers. This is one of those hidden mechanisms that explains why people with higher vitamin C intake often have lower rates of heart disease. Now, let's talk numbers for a moment. The recommended daily allowance of vitamin C for adults is around 75 to 90 milligrams. But here's the catch. Many experts believe that's just enough to prevent scurvy. Not nearly enough for optimal heart health. In fact, some cardiologists and nutrition researchers suggest aiming for 200 to 500 milligrams a day, ideally from food and if needed from supplements. That's still very safe, well below any toxic level, and yet it could make a measurable difference in your vascular health over time. Think about it this way. We often spend hundreds of dollars on fancy supplements, superfoods, or treatments. But something as simple as making sure you're consistently hitting a higher intake of vitamin C could be one of the cheapest and most effective investments in your long-term health. Why aren't more of us taking advantage of that? If you've ever struggled with fatigue, frequent colds, slow wound healing, or bleeding gums, these might be subtle signs that you're not getting enough vitamin C. But even if you don't have symptoms, your cardiovascular system could still be quietly craving more. That's the scary part about heart disease. It develops silently, often over decades. By the time you feel symptoms, the damage is already advanced. That's why prevention, through simple steps like prioritizing vitamin C, is so powerful. Now, I want to pause here and ask you, do you feel like you're getting enough vitamin C in your daily life? Be honest with yourself. If you're not sure, drop a comment below and share your typical daily diet I'd love to give you some feedback. And while you're at it, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I share insights like this all the time. And I don't want you to miss out on the simple habits that can transform your health after 50. I also want to touch on something more emotional. Many of us, as we get older, start to worry about leaving behind the people we love, our children, grandchildren, spouses. Heart disease is the #1 cause of death in the world. And yet here we are, overlooking one of the simplest tools to fight it. When you think about vitamin C, don't just think about yourself. Think about the dinners with your family you want to enjoy, the vacations you want to take, the milestones you want to see. This nutrient isn't just about lowering a number on your lab test, it's about extending chapters of your life story. And yes, there are skeptics who say vitamin C isn't a magic bullet. They're right. It's not a replacement for a balanced diet, exercise, or medications when they're truly necessary. But here's my perspective. Why wouldn't you want every possible ally on your side? Why wouldn't you want to stack the odds in your favor with something so safe, accessible, and beneficial? To me, that's common sense.